Tonight on ABC News Live Prime, Congress overwhelmingly passes a bipartisan bill to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. The House and Senate acting decisively to force the Justice Department to publicly release its files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, a vote President Trump tried to prevent for weeks before changing his stance. The president trying to silence a reporter asking about the vote.
Quiet. I'm Rachel Scott with the details of that bill that will soon make its way to the president's desk.
President Trump welcoming the Saudi crown prince to the Oval Office today, pulling out all the stops, calling him, quote, a very good friend of mine. The president lashing out at our reporter Mary Bruce when she asked the prince about his link to the killing of an American journalist.
And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
I'm Mary Bruce with more on my exchange with the president and what else happened in today's controversial meeting.
A federal court blocks Texas from using its newly drawn congressional map in next year's midterms, ruling that it's likely an unconstitutional racial gerrymander, a major setback for the president and Republicans. Will the ruling stand? An ABC News investigation brought to us by Pierre Thomas. Global Network 764, which the FBI now refers to as a new form of modern-day terrorism targeting children online. Law enforcement warns the network is getting bigger and bolder. In tonight's Prime Focus, Juju Chang talks to parents whose son was victimized by alleged members of this terrifying network in a place where he should have been safe, at home. And we hear so much about ultra-processed foods, but what exactly does that mean, and how do they impact your health? We take an in-depth look tonight in our Gut Check.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Linsey Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with an uncommon scene on Capitol Hill. Celebration and bipartisan cooperation, and the moment some survivors have been awaiting for decades. Cheers erupted at the conclusion of a vigil when the Epstein survivors were told both the House and the Senate passed the bill to compel the release of the Epstein files. Just hours before, those survivors were in the House chambers watching from the gallery, celebrating the moment they have fought for. All but one member of Congress voted in favor of transparency. This came after President Trump reversed course, telling House Republicans to pass the bill. And around 5:30 this evening, Minority Leader Schumer asked for unanimous consent on the Senate floor. Not a single senator objected. President Trump was pressed again today. Will he sign the bill if it comes to his desk? Now with a veto-proof majority. Rachel Scott leads us off from Capitol Hill.
Tonight, a nearly unanimous vote in the House.
The yeas are 427, the nays are 1.
An extraordinary moment as dozens of Jeffrey Epstein's victims watched and cheered in the gallery. Republicans and Democrats demanding the Justice Department release the FBI files into the sex offender.
The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
It was a vote President Trump tried to prevent for weeks, assisted by House Speaker Mike Johnson, who kept the House out of session for 54 days, effectively stalling it. When it became clear Republicans were going to defy the president, Trump reversed course and told them to vote yes.
He's been very clear and he has nothing to hide, and that's why he's endorsed the vote today.
For survivors of Epstein's abuse, a moment of victory.
We're ready for the next step, and we're ready to finally release the files. All the files.
The Senate wasting no time, pledging to pass the bill and send it to the president's desk.
Without objection, so ordered.
At a vigil, survivors getting word of the news.
The Senate has passed the bill.
President Trump has pledged to sign that bill into law. But tonight, even some Republicans sounding skeptical that the files will be released.
Do you take the president at his word when he says he's going to sign this bill? And do you have confidence that these files will actually be released?
I only take people's actions seriously. No longer words.
The fact is, the president doesn't need Congress to release the Epstein files. He could do it on his own. Our Mary Bruce asking, why wait for Congress? Why not just do it now?
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert.
The president was asked again and again why he doesn't just release these files. What do you think is stopping him?
He could release them. He should release them today.
But the president has not ordered the Justice Department to release the files. Instead, he demanded that they investigate Epstein's ties to Democrats. Critics say it's to get the spotlight off of himself. Epstein's victims, including Jenna Lisa Jones, who says Epstein molested her when she was just 14, infuriated.
I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. Show some class, show some real leadership, show that you actually care about the people other than yourself. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment. It is time to take the honest, moral ground and support the release of these files.
Rachel Scott joins us now from Capitol Hill. Hey, Rachel, how soon could this now be signed into law?
Well, this bill is on a fast track to the White House to get to the president's desk. And a senior White House official tells us tonight the president will sign the bill as soon as it reaches the White House. But there are still major questions on how and when the Justice Department will release those files and just how transparent they will be. That is what the victims are waiting for, Lindsay.
All right, they have been waiting for quite some time on this. Rachel Scott, our thanks to you. For more now, we're joined by Republican Congressman John McGuire of Virginia. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. You're, of course, on the House Oversight Committee. You voted yes today, along with all of your colleagues, except for one. The Senate just passed this by unanimous consent, ignoring Speaker Johnson's calls to modify the bill. Are you surprised how quickly everything played out today?
Well, it's about time. It probably should have happened a long time ago, but we've got so many things that we need to do. Obviously, we got way behind on this record-breaking government shutdown, and we've got a lot of work to catch up on. We got to improve the cost of living and everything else. So I wish this would have happened a long time ago. I hope we can. It's a tragic situation. It's horrible. We've got to protect the victims and prevent this from ever happening again if we can. But we've got to put this behind us and move on. So I'm glad it happened.
The president, as you know, campaigned on transparency on these files. Attorney General Bondi promised that as well soon after she was confirmed. Then you had the president as recently as last week bringing in your colleague Lauren Boebert to try to persuade her to not sign on to the discharge petition. Any idea why the administration switched gears on this and so drastically?
Well, I think President Trump, the administration, and our Republican conference and Congress were all about transparency and accountability. I'm not sure what they discussed or how they discussed it. I wasn't there. Like I said, though, it's about time. It's about time we need to get this done and put it behind us. And my heart just goes out. I saw some of the testimonies of some of the victims. It was just horrible. And, you know, we as an American people have got to be vigilant. But if you see something, say something, do something. We cannot let this type of evil prevail as far as attacking anyone, whether they're a minor or adult or anybody else.
You weren't one of the 4 Republicans who signed on to the discharge petition to force this vote. Why did you personally vote yes?
Well, I think that the American people, we vote our district, and our district, all around the district, this is something very important to people. And also, I think that, I don't know exactly what happened. None of us really do. That's why we're trying to get the transparency, accountability going on. But we've released 65,000 documents. I don't know if you know this, and 20,000 more from the Epstein estate. And as more and more evidence comes out, the more important it is to make sure we have that get out. So I voted yes to, put an end to this and to get some closure for the victims.
Taking a step back, you mentioned the victims. Of course, this has been a long and lengthy fight for the Epstein survivors for quite some time. How important do you think that this step is as far as transparency is concerned for them?
I think it's a step in the right direction. Again, I think it's a little late, but it's a step in the right direction. And hopefully there will be some closure and accountability with the documents that we've released.
Will the Oversight Committee continue investigating?
I'm on the Oversight Committee, and I'd say absolutely.
Representative John McGuire, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
While victims of Jeffrey Epstein were gathering on Capitol Hill, another remarkable scene was unfolding at the White House, where President Trump welcomed the Saudi crown prince, who's been isolated from the world stage for years. During President Trump's first term, the CIA determined the crown prince was responsible for the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Today, when the crown prince was pressed on this by our Mary Bruce, the president stepped in and defended the crown prince, saying, quote, "Things happen." Here's Mary Bruce at the White House.
For a long time isolated on the global stage, tonight Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman fully embraced by President Trump. Welcomed to the White House with horses on parade, a military flyover, and a personal tour. Trump pulling out all the stops.
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. See, I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand.
Trump heaping praise on the Crown Prince.
I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else.
But it was the CIA under Donald Trump who determined in 2018 that the Crown Prince orchestrated the murder and dismemberment of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. President Trump bristling when I asked about that. Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir. The president answering first, defending the Crown Prince, and instead criticizing the journalist who was murdered.
You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
But the Crown Prince, who rarely faces the press, defended himself.
It's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose. It's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
Trump has been eager to cultivate ties to Saudi Arabia, traveling there for the first foreign trip of both his presidential terms. And his family has been doing big business in Saudi.
Trump Tower, Jeddah. Coming soon.
Trump Towers going up in Jeddah and in Riyadh, a Trump Plaza now in the works. In the last year alone, the Trump Organization's Saudi partner pumping more than $20 million into the family business. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, also has deep business ties to the country. Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? The president dismissing the notion.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot.
Mary Bruce with some hard-hitting questions for the president today. And Mary, the Crown Prince also outlined today new investments that they plan to make in the U.S. What did he say?
Yeah, Linsey, the Crown Prince coming here with a major new financial commitment, agreeing to invest almost $1 trillion in the U.S. But that is certainly no comfort to Khashoggi's widow, Hanan. I spoke with her today, and she says there was no justification for her husband's murder, and she continues to call for the Crown Prince to apologize. Linsey.
Mary Bruce from the White House. Thanks so much, Mary. In North Carolina tonight, the Trump administration is expanding their immigration crackdown operation from Charlotte to the Raleigh area. Federal agents have been spotted moving through neighborhoods there. Surveillance shows people running through a parking lot in Charlotte. ABC's Faith Abube reports tonight from Raleigh.
Tonight, new images of that multi-day immigration crackdown in North Carolina. Customers inside this laundromat scattering during a raid on a shopping center, then running out the back door into a wooded area. I spoke with the owner who said his customers are afraid to come back.
I think it's all just political theater, really. They're just trying to instill fear in the community.
In Charlotte, masked agents confronting 2 U.S. citizens in their car after they reportedly honked their horn to warn others about the crackdown.
Put the windows down! Put the windows down!
An agent then smashes the car window before moving in.
He's smashing a window.
And detaining the women with zip ties. Border Patrol expanding the immigration crackdown from Charlotte to Raleigh.
We're in the communities in Raleigh, in Charlotte, and in North Carolina arresting illegal aliens.
After more than 200 arrests, these communities are pushing back.
It's sad to see my community being terrified of going to work, of going to school.
What's the message to Border Patrol as they're in town?
My message to them is honestly just, we don't need you here.
Faith Abube joins us now. Faith, do federal agents plan on staying in Raleigh?
Linsey, sources telling ABC News tonight that the Raleigh raids have yielded few arrests and that Border Patrol agents will focus their operation in Charlotte. And as for those 2 women from that car that you saw in our piece there, DHS says they were arrested for impeding agents after ignoring warnings to stop. Linsey.
Faith for us. Thanks so much, Faith. Pope Leo has ramped up his criticism of President Donald Trump's hardline immigration policies by saying immigrants in the United States are being treated by the administration extremely disrespectfully. Let's take a listen.
I think there are a lot of problems in the system. No one has said that the United States should have open borders. I think every country has a right to determine who and how and when people enter. But when people are living good lives, and many of them for 10, 15, 20 years, to treat them in a way that is extremely disrespectful, to say the least, and there's been some violence, unfortunately.
The Pope went on to call for people in the U.S. to treat people humanely, with humanity and dignity. Pope Leo noted he backs a recent U.S. Catholic bishop's statement rebuking the administration's policies and called for meaningful immigration reform. We move on now to escalating tensions in the Caribbean. 2 American battleships spotted off of Venezuela. The USS Ford, the largest aircraft carrier in the world, is now in the region along with 15,000 American troops. President Trump is not ruling out ground strikes against Venezuela, Mexico, and Colombia, accusing them of flooding the U.S. with drugs. ABC's Matt Rivers reports from the Caribbean.
Tonight, we're on a fishing boat just a few miles from the coast of Venezuela when we spotted a massive U.S. warship in the distance. Moments later, a second, a destroyer and an amphibious assault ship, both sailing the thin stretch of water between Venezuela and Trinidad.
So we're just off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago, and just over my shoulder there you can see we've spotted a pair of U.S. warships. We're too far away to know exactly which ones they are, but we do know that those ships are a part of the largest U.S. military buildup in this region in decades.
One of those 2 Navy ships carrying Marines from the same unit taking part in joint training exercises on the islands this week, as President Trump reviews options for possible military strikes inside Venezuela. The U.S. attacking at least 22 alleged drug boats, killing at least 83 people, and striking fear in local fishermen like Reg Williams.
They're afraid to go out and fish anyway because next thing, like you say,
because they've seen these videos of boats getting blown up, right?
Yeah.
Easy to understand the concerns. Matt Rivers joins us now. So, Matt, just how close did U.S. ships get to Venezuela today?
Extremely close, Linsey. In fact, the moment that we saw those 2 ships, if I look to my left, I could also see the coastline of Venezuela. That's how close those 2 warships got to Venezuela. Just a remarkable show of force. Linsey.
Matt Rivers for us. Thanks so much, Matt. We're getting an update on the investigation into the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, whose body was found in a Tesla belonging to the singer David. He's now considered a suspect. ABC's Alex Stone joins us now from Los Angeles. Alex, what's the latest?
Yeah, Linsey, investigators are now considering David to be a suspect. A number of sources telling us that they believe that more than one person was involved in the crime, but that they have not narrowed it down to the point of how many people it is, and it was, and how many others may have taken part. But they do believe that David did play a role in this, according to sources. Now, they are confident. I was just off the phone with one of the investigators. They're confident that they're in contact, they say, with the individuals involved, and that they're putting pressure on them right now. They don't know what led up to this, that they now believe a murder, even though the medical examiner here in LA County has not yet determined the cause of death, but they believe it was a murder. They don't yet know what led up to that. They say that David is not cooperating with them, but that they are moving forward with the investigation.
But this has been several weeks at this point. What's keeping authorities from filing charges?
Well, they don't know that cause of death, and that is the major aspect of this, and the critical point that we're now 2 months into this, and her body was badly decomposed. We now know, according to sources, that it was dismembered inside the front trunk of that Tesla that you see right there. There had been some questions early on, Linsey, if the body had been dismembered or just time and the degradation of the body, decomposition, if that had played a role in the status that her body was found in and the state that it was found in. But sources are saying tonight, no, that she was dismembered by somebody. They believe, according to sources now, investigators believe that David played some role in that, likely did get help, but until they get the official cause of death from the medical examiner, they can't move forward with charges or make any arrests.
And what's been happening with David? Is he still performing concerts at this point?
He is not performing. He ended his world tour, or at least put it on hold as all of this has been going on. But we can also confirm tonight from a number of sources, Lindsay, that he is not cooperating with them. Early on, his team was saying that he was fully cooperating, even though investigators were telling us that was not true. Tonight, they say that as they have tried to put pressure on him and on others involved, that David is not cooperating at this point. They are moving forward with the investigation, but without any help from him.
All right, Alex still in for us. Thanks so much, Alex. A new turn in the investigation into the death of an 18-year-old girl on a Carnival cruise. New court filings show it appears a step-sibling may now face charges. Here's our Victor Oquendo.
Tonight, the mystery intensifying after a teen from Central Florida, east of Orlando, was found dead aboard the Carnival cruise ship Horizon. 18-year-old Anna Kepner, on vacation with her family earlier this month, cruising from Miami to the Caribbean. The FBI now investigating. Details around Kepner's death, including the cause, not yet released. But a new filing in an unrelated family court matter now says one of her step-siblings could face charges. According to a court document filed on Monday, Kepner was on the cruise ship with her father, stepmother, and step-siblings. Lawyers for the stepmother saying one of her minor children may now face criminal charges. The filing saying currently there is an investigation being conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigations arising out of the sudden death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. Adding the stepmother has been advised through discussions with FBI investigators and her attorneys that a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children.
Victor Oquendo joins us now. Victor, what is the FBI saying about the investigation?
Lindsay, the FBI declined to comment. A celebration of life ceremony will be held for the teen on Thursday. Lindsay?
Victor Oquendo for us. Thanks so much, Victor. A powerful moment in court in Henderson, Nevada, when the mother of an 11-year-old boy shot and killed in a road rage incident confronted her son's alleged killer. Police say the suspect admits to firing the weapon. Here's ABC's Trevor Hall.
Tonight, powerful words from the mother of a child killed in a horrific road rage attack, confronting the suspect in court.
He wanted to take somebody's life away. He took my son away. He was just trying to make it to school.
Authorities say 11-year-old Brandon Dominguez Chavarria was in the back seat Friday morning when his stepfather had a heated exchange with another driver, Tyler Johns, as they merged onto this Nevada freeway.
Our suspect then produced a handgun and fired one round.
That round struck young Brandon, and he later died at the hospital. Today, the judge granting the mother's request to hold the suspect without bail.
My son is never going to come back. He took my son's life. He needs to be here and pay for everything he did.
Lindsay, the suspect Tyler John says he didn't know there was a child in the back seat. He is now facing a first-degree murder charge. He's due back in court next month. Lindsay?
Trevor, thank you. Web infrastructure company Cloudflare said it resolved an issue on its network which had temporarily disrupted access to some of the world's most popular websites. Artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT and social media platform X were among the platforms impacted. Cloudflare says the disruption was not the result of a cyber attack. The company issued an apology to users, but it comes as other major cloud providers, including Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure, have recently faced similar outages. Coming up, they're two of the greats, and they might not be on the basketball court during the next Olympic Games. Plus, an important alert for parents. Law enforcement warns that 764, an online network targeting children, is getting bigger and bolder. Juju Chang has a look at the growing threat in an ABC News investigation with Pierre Thomas.
We knew there were bad people on the internet, period, when we had those conversations.
And you tried to limit it. Oh, yeah. It was locked down.
We did all the things that are available to us, right?
And it's become a center of a nationwide debate. And now Texas Republicans are facing a redistricting setback that's putting the brakes on a new map. Welcome back, everyone. For weeks this summer, Texas Republican lawmakers dominated headlines with their efforts to redraw the state's congressional map in order to give their party more seats in the House of Representatives. The legislature approved the new map in a party line vote, But then just today, a panel of 3 federal judges said not so fast and blocked Texas from using the map in the 2026 midterms. The back and forth drama is tonight's By the Numbers. The vote by the panel was 2-1. 2 of the 3 federal judges were appointed by Republican presidents, and the decision itself was written by a Trump appointee. The ruling now forces Texas to use their map from 2021 and is a blow to President Trump's efforts to have GOP lawmakers protect their slim majority in the House. Republicans hold 25 of Texas's 38 congressional seats and could have won perhaps 30 seats if the new map had held. But a coalition of civil rights groups representing Black and Hispanic voters argued that the map reduced the influence of minority voters in violation of the Constitution and the Voting Rights Act. Their argument was that the state is 40% white, yet according to their claim, white voters control more than 70% of the state's congressional seats. Aside from Texas, Missouri, and North Carolina, state legislatures also engaged in redistricting, adding 1 more Republican seat to each of their maps. California Governor Gavin Newsom said he'd retaliate against these efforts, and indeed, California voters just approved a new congressional map giving Democrats 5 more House seats. That California measure was dubbed Proposition 50, with yes votes outnumbering no votes by nearly 2-1. California's Republican Party has filed a lawsuit to block the new map's implementation, and the DOJ joined them in the suit last week. And joining us now is ABC News legal contributor James Sample. James, always good to have you with us. California's redistricting was different in that it was the voters, not state legislators, who ultimately made the call. Might that affect how judges ultimately rule on California's new map?
You're right that that's how it came about, Lindsay. And in theory, it shouldn't matter at all. In practice, it might. You know, just 6 years ago in a decision called Rucho v. Common Cause, the court effectively rolled out a red carpet for partisan redistricting. The idea that federal courts cannot review even the most partisan, most skewed, most undemocratic maps if those maps are pursued for purely partisan ends. Ironically, perhaps, the most favorable fact for what California did in terms of California having that be upheld subsequently in the courts is that it was a nakedly partisan in purpose redistricting. It was responsive to what Texas had done. Their purposes were purely partisan. And although that makes absolutely no sense to most people on a common sense level, it's frankly crazy and undemocratic. It is a product of the Supreme Court's decision, and that might actually redound to California's benefit.
All right, so you mentioned the Supreme Court. So explain something here, because the Supreme Court ruled in 2019 that partisan gerrymandering is a political issue that federal courts have no business in determining, yet it was a panel of federal judges who just blocked Texas's new congressional map. So how did that happen?
Good question. The backbone of today's decision is a distinction that exists in the law. Basically, the one area in which redistricting is still subject to review by the federal courts is the area that was at issue today. So the court has drawn a line over the last several years that says that purely partisan gerrymandering is beyond federal court review. But gerrymandering that is designed around racial purposes, racial gerrymandering, is still subject to the court's scrutiny. And what the court in Texas found today by that 2-1 margin that you mentioned is that rather than pursuing this purely on a partisan basis, the redistricting was designed around racial purposes and in fact relied heavily on a letter from the Department of Justice that was all about race and did not mention partisanship one time. So in a sense, this is the inverse of the California circumstance, and this is the one area where the Supreme Court still polices redistricting. It is still unconstitutional to redistrict in a manner that it dilutes or is intended to discriminate on the basis of race.
Thanks so much for that explanation. Makes a lot of sense. So, James, Texas AG Ken Paxton said that he would appeal the state's case to the Supreme Court. Will he have a solid case?
He will certainly have a receptive audience. Let's say that. Donald Trump is on a winning streak in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court justices are not blind to what's happening in the world. This was frankly an own goal, if you will, by the political operatives in the state of Texas who should have known better, who should have known that if they, instead of casting their purposes in racial terms, they could have accomplished the exact same end, characterizing them in partisan terms. In the Supreme Court, you may find that the court majority may recharacterize what happened based on their understanding of the real world consequences, that this is something Donald Trump asked for, that it was in many respects intended to be partisan, even though it was blundered to that extent. And if so, the court may effectively save the Republican Party of Texas from itself.
James Sample, always appreciate your legal analysis and insight. Thanks so much. And coming up, the online network of predators reaching out to children, convincing them to harm themselves and often others. But what can law enforcement do about it? And rapper Eminem is sometimes more popularly known as the real Slim Shady. But should that mean an Australian company called Swim Shady can be held accountable for trademark infringement? Now to an ABC News investigation into a global network known as 764, which the FBI now refers to as a new form of modern-day terrorism that targets children online. With fresh arrests, including one last week involving alleged plans for a terror attack, law enforcement is now warning that the 764 network is getting bigger and bolder. In tonight's Prime Focus, Juju Chang talks to parents in a suburb outside Seattle whose son Jay was victimized by alleged members of this terrifying network in a place where he should have been safe, at home.
I love you. I'm sorry I couldn't talk to you on FaceTime.
13-year-old Jay Taylor loved crafting.
See crochet all over the place. This is beautiful.
It's what drew him to join online groups like Discord to make friends as he struggled with his mental health after COVID.
We knew there were bad people on the internet, period, when we had those conversations.
And you tried to limit it. Oh, yeah. It was locked down.
We did all the things that are available to us, right?
But that didn't stop an online network of extreme predators known as 764 from reaching Jay anyway and allegedly pushing him to do the unthinkable. Take his own life.
They took advantage of Jay's loneliness and his kindness, and then they completely preyed on his insecurities.
The goal of 764, to unleash chaos.
Modern day terrorism in America, 764 crimes that involve harming our children by going after them online, causing self-mutilation, suicide, sexual abuse.
At least 30 people have been charged by the Justice Department in recent years with suspected ties to 764 or affiliated networks.
Martin, like your last name or name? What is it? Last name.
Including this young Arizona man, indicted last month on 29 federal charges, from cyberstalking to alleged support of terrorists, meaning 764. He intends to plead not guilty. The FBI says it's now investigating more than 350 cases across the country.
This new network has a potential national security implication.
A dramatic spike since our ABC News investigative unit report on 764 earlier this year.
It's one thing to learn that your child died by suicide. It's another thing to learn that people were watching.
Right.
And egging him on.
Sickening.
Probably one of our favorites.
The Taylors say they're now fighting for accountability, planning to sue Discord.
Because that was the doorway that these bad guys that we would never let into our home.
Discord says the horrific actions of 764 have no place on Discord or anywhere in society, and that it's working aggressively to keep bad actors and harmful content off its platform, including investing heavily in new digital tools and cooperating with law enforcement. But the Taylors also want lawmakers to take action.
I couldn't live with myself not making this push now, making it public, because if I read a story like Jay's, after Jay's passed, we failed Jay in this endeavor.
It's so many parents share that sentiment. We are joined now by Juju Chang and Pierre Thomas. Thank you both so much for this reporting and for joining us tonight. Pierre, let's start with you. I know that you really started working on this back in May, and then you and Juju teamed up together to push it forward. Why was that so important for you to revisit this?
Because this is an expanding threat. The FBI has more cases, even from when we did this reporting back 6 months ago, roughly. Parents are being confronted with this on a regular basis. And so we've really felt the need to pursue it. And, my colleague Juju just did some extraordinary work that's gut-wrenching but very important.
And Juju, tell us about this family.
Well, you hear Jay's parents talking about how, in many ways, they want their son's legacy to be shining a light into the darkest corners of the internet. And they were doing all the things that parents are supposed to do, watching their child's content, monitoring the number of hours he was online, and yet they still managed to reach him, and it ended up and escalated so quickly in such a dark way. So awareness is a lot of it, but they also want to push for new legislation. They want to push for the platforms to have more safety protocols. So they have turned into reluctant activists in all of this.
And we know that just today, Roblox announced new safety measures. What should a parent who's concerned do? Who do you reach out to?
Well, the safety measures that Roblox is talking about involves using technology, which created this problem in the first place, to create a scenario where children are communicating with children and there's less opportunity in their minds of predators to engage with these children in chat rooms. But I think the main thing is the old adage, parents have to continue to be engaged in their children's lives. So you have to constantly communicate with them, know what social media platforms they're on, and just do the best you can. But I would say in my 30 years of covering law enforcement, 764 is probably the most evil entity I've ever seen.
That's saying a lot, considering all that you do cover. Juju, why do you feel the parents decided they were ready to come forward now?
I think it's been a number of years, and there has been a successful arrest, and charges have been filed. So what happened was, after they realized that their son's suicide was caught live stream on camera, a whistleblower of sorts from Australia came forward, gave them the suicide video. And so investigators, the FBI, were able to track it down to a handle in Germany. A teenage medical student has now been charged with murder for their son's death, which is something that the U.S. laws won't allow. So it gave them yet another reason to come forward and talk about it. But this suspect who's behind bars in Germany was not just arrested for murder, but also charged with dozens of other crimes, hundreds of other crimes against dozens of other alleged victims.
I think this is something that people are it's going to get their attention, right? Because so many parents can relate, but especially having Juju Chang and Pierre Thomas pair up, journalists among journalists, it really is so meaningful that you all are doing this. Thank you.
It's a meaningful collaboration. We've enjoyed it.
It really is. Just glad for your platform and everywhere that's airing this, because I do think this is the newest and symptomatic of the challenge of parenting in the 21st century.
Pierre, Juju, thank you both so much. You can see more of the ABC News investigation tonight on Nightline with Juju and Pierre Thomas. And still ahead, bowing out, the major NBA stars saying no to the Summer Olympics, and Brits go country, and why country music stars say they just can't wait to perform across the pond. An NFL team honors the memory of a beloved teammate. Two American basketball stars may not be on the court in the next Olympic Games. And will the real Slim Shady please stand up? These stories and much more in tonight's Rundown. The Dallas Cowboys took to the field on Monday night for the first time since the death of defensive end Marshawn Kneeland. The Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders held a moment of silence. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer was among those wearing a shirt memorializing Kneeland. The team also displayed his number 94 jersey on the sideline and held it up in the final seconds of their 33-16 win. The 24-year-old died by an apparent suicide on November 6th. The Home Depot says a lack of storms and economic uncertainty contributed to the company missing its third quarter financial targets and cutting its yearly outlook. The company said the lower than usual amount of storms caused less of a need for repairs, which impacted sales, and that a weaker housing market and consumer uncertainty were causing more consumers to hold back on larger home improvement projects. A victory for social media giant Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. A federal judge ruled Mark Zuckerberg's company does not hold an illegal monopoly over the industry. The FTC sued Meta in 2020, accusing the company of making anti-competitive acquisitions. The judge says the social media landscape has changed since the lawsuit was filed. Team USA may be without both LeBron James and Steph Curry at the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. The basketball legends, who will both be in their 40s in 2028, discuss their futures with Hall of Famer Steve Nash on James's Mind the Game podcast.
You already know my answer. So you don't even that. I will be watching it from comments.
Never say never, but I highly doubt it.
James and Curry led Team USA to a gold medal in the 2024 Olympics. Potential Ford customers could soon be able to buy a car on Amazon. The automaker and tech giant announced a new partnership that lets customers shop for, finance, and buy certified pre-owned Ford vehicles on Amazon Autos. Ford becomes the second car maker after Hyundai to make its vehicles available on Amazon. The program is currently available in Los Angeles, Seattle, and Dallas, with plans to expand in the coming months. It's Slim Shady versus Swim Shady. Rapper Eminem filed a petition to cancel the U.S. trademark of the Australian beach umbrella and bag company Swim Shady, claiming the name's similarity to his own nickname, Slim Shady, could cause confusion and falsely suggest he's connected to the company. Swim Shady said in a statement that it planned to defend their valuable intellectual property. Country music has long been a powerhouse genre in America, but would you be surprised to know it's growing in the United Kingdom? It's gotten so big, a piece of country music history recently came to London. ABC's Maggie Rulli has more.
Cowboy boots, trucker hats, and all the country flair.
We did actually walk up and say, shall we talk American tonight?
Are you guys pumped to be here?
Yeah.
Yes. Only we're not in Nashville. We're in London. When you sing country music, is it an American accent or your British accent?
It has to be an American accent.
Really?
It has to be the twang.
Country music was the fastest growing genre in the UK last year. Streaming of country songs doubled. And when the Grand Ole Opry took over the Royal Albert Hall in a sold-out concert, it seemed like a sign country music is here to stay. In a historic first, the 100-year-old institution that popularized the genre made its international debut. Traveling across the pond for a British hoedown at one of London's most iconic venues. Country superstars including Luke Combs, Darius Rucker, Ashley McBride, and Carly Pearce took to the legendary stage. We got a peek behind the scenes. You can just feel all the excitement and nervous energy, the anticipation for the big show. You know, these artists have performed at every major stage across the world, but this, the Grand Ole Opry at Royal Albert Hall, this has never happened before. Hi, Mag. Oh, wait, hug her. We quickly discovered the biggest names in country music love the British touch.
I've been told by a couple of British folks that my British accent is lovely, and that really makes me happy.
My favorite British thing is just when anybody says blimey. I always chuckle because I'm like, they actually say that.
Well, blimey, those British fans just keep showing up for a good time.
They have such an appreciation here for the whole artist. It's not just about songs on the radio, and they listen and they care about your stories and they care about just the songwriting, and I don't know, it's different here. I really feel the most understood when I'm playing shows over here.
Musicians like Carly Pearce are regularly making European stops on their tours.
I feel like in the UK, at least they're speaking in English, but they're so much more proper than the way that I sing it, so it's very cute. But yeah, I'll go to Germany and they have no idea what I'm saying in between songs, but man, do they sing at the top of their lungs in English, my songs. And I'm like, okay, cool.
And country festivals where cowboy boots and hats are mandatory attire are popping up across the continent. But to perform at Royal Albert Hall is a once-in-a-lifetime feat.
It's one of my favorite venues in the world. One of my two favorite venues in the world. It really is. It's just it's magical up there. And to be a part of the group taking the Opry International is pretty awesome. I'm blessed to be a part of it. It's just amazing.
I never in a million years thought that my music would bring me across the world. This is one of those moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I made it. And You need those every once in a while. To be invited to be one of the performers here tonight blows my mind.
What do you think it is about country music that transcends cultures, countries, languages?
The easiest explanation is country music resonates with people because it's regular folks singing songs about regular folk stuff. We are writing about the human experience. We are truly three chords in the truth, and there's a vulnerability here. Everybody's experiencing heartbreak and loss and happiness and love.
Fans feel the same.
I think it's relatable.
It's storytelling, isn't it?
It's the outfits. It's got to be the outfits.
Darius Rucker, the voice behind Wagon Wheel, one of the top 5 best-selling country songs ever, has been living in London for the last year.
You know, I ordered tea at a restaurant the other day, and everybody gave me crap. I was like, hell, I drink tea now. It's okay.
In fact, he's been documenting his UK food adventures on Instagram.
We're going to start a little segment called Traditional British Food. Things that we don't really have over in America, and I'm going to try out a lot of them. And we're going to start with the Scotch egg. I'm very excited about this. It's pork around an egg. It's beautiful. Oh, that's good.
So we decided to put his taste buds to the test with an iconic British treat, the Curly Whirly Squirlies.
Oh, I'm very excited about these.
It says chocolate in them. Okay.
What's on the inside?
I don't even know.
Oh, that's good.
Was that caramel?
Not caramel.
Oh, these are really.
I need no. I'm going to take them. I'm going to keep this.
Keep it.
Darius channeling that British influence, writing his next album right here in London. Is it different making country music over here?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the reasons I moved here. Because I saw how big it was getting here and I wanted to be a part of it. The crowds here are just a little different, you know. I mean, they really know, every song. Like you play some random album track and everybody's singing, you know, and it's just great to watch and it's great to be a part of it.
The Opry and its members agree.
This is a stamp of approval. So for them to say, we should go to London, they're acknowledging that London is a wonderful place with wonderful fans, and country music should live here as well. I feel like we are bringing over an experience that is so sacred to us to a place that is so sacred to the UK. So I feel so excited that we're getting to bring this experience to a crowd that is going to appreciate it in the way that we want them to.
Our thanks to Maggie Bruley in London. Tomorrow is country's biggest night. The CMA Awards air at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.